guys, my name is Solarsammy. I don't know why I keep doing the Daco intro or whatever. Yeah. You see the title of this video already, so, don't bitch at me in the comments and let's just get started. This video is scripted because I have so much to say about this topic and I can't just improvise it. So, I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for this in the comments, but honestly, I think the new Disney movie, Mufasa, was pretty good. Disney handled the story very well. From the trauma Mufasa has with water, to capping it off with the whole, like, fight scene thing, like, underwater, eventually, like, conquering his fear of water in triumph. I think it was good. That being said, I think they could have handled Taka a bit differently. Like, his reason for betraying Mufasa in the first place and getting his signature scar could have been... it could have been better. I mean, they could have handled Taka's betrayal of Mufasa differently, because giving him the only reason to betray Mufasa is Solarsammy being interested in him and not Taka, when she wasn't even interested in Taka in the first place, is just stupid. Like, the animation has improved in my opinion. Like, this honestly feels more expressive than the 2019 remake ever did. It doesn't really feel cringe. It feels more lively. Like, it actually had heart put into it. Just a little bit, because, you know, Disney's not really all for heart anymore, are they? The songs are okay, some better than others. But overall it works. It builds Mufasa's character from a traumatized, rejected stray who lost his family to a well-respected king who kind of earned it, and, like, brought everyone together. Taka's character didn't really make sense. Like, he starts out as this, like, happy-go-lucky, like, cub, kind of like Mufasa does. No, not Mufasa, Simba does. The change kind of seems forced. Like, he goes from loving Mufasa like a brother, like they're two peas in a pod, to their relationship literally hinging on who gets the girl. Like, come on! You could do better than that, Disney. Or can they? I don't think they can. Obviously they can't. Like, it doesn't make their relationship as brothers seem genuine. Yeah, it's adoptive, but still, like, if your relationship with someone, regardless of affiliation, hinges on whether or not either of you gets the girl or not, that's not a good relationship. These shouldn't have been brothers in the first place if that's all it takes to break them up. Like, Taka seems so happy to have a brother, and, like, he's so defensive of him in the first, like, time they're introduced. When other lions are coming against Mufasa, he's, like, standing up for him, and then, like, Mufasa supports him in wanting to be with Solarsammy, and then when Solarsammy doesn't pick Taka, that's the straw that broke the camel's back for some reason. What? Yeah, I really didn't like that part. It doesn't make sense, because they're, like, pledging loyalty to each other, because when Taka's family sends them away, the last, I guess, decree or whatever that Taka's father tells Mufasa to do is to pledge his loyalty to them, to go with Taka and, like, protect him and whatever. So then after that, Taka, like, gives some shit with, like, after being with Sarabi for not being loyal to him. I mean, it's like by himself. He doesn't confront Mufasa, like, actually. This is all after he's seen them, like, sing and whatnot together, just admitting they like each other. So at this point, Mufasa's been nothing but loyal to him. So, I don't know. And then Taka suddenly has a strange, like, change of heart by the end after betraying Mufasa for this other, like, white lion who could be Kimba if Disney didn't want, like, copyright shit. Oh yeah, Lion King is based on, or is very similar to a different movie, at least the original is, called Kimba, the White Lion. No one knows that, but I do. That would have been a bold move if they called him Kimba. There's a lawsuit waiting to happen. But after this white lion that's chasing them basically takes in Taka as his son, and Taka, like, swears loyalty to him. In, like, one of the final acts, when Mufasa and the other lion are fighting, like, I think it's in Pride Rock, so it looks like the same interior, Taka suddenly just, it's like, oh no, don't kill my brother, just steps in front of him and gets his scar. And then after, like, the fight and everything, he pledges allegiance to Mufasa as the new king. And then, like he's allowed to stay as long as Mufasa king. And then he turns to the shadows as Mufasa's, like, going up Pride Rock to do the Simba roar thing before Simba did that. Like, he still has a grudge against him. Like, what? If this was put out before The Lion King, like, at all, maybe that wouldn't look malicious. But because we know Scar wants to kill Mufasa in The Lion King because he shouldn't be king, that doesn't make sense. And I know they already retired the, like, 2D and whatnot animation style and kind of wrapped that up with the Lion Guard. And this is kind of a new canon, I guess. That's what it looks like. In the Lion Guard, at least, they gave him a reason to be evil towards his brother, whereas he wasn't before. Because when he was leading the guard, or his guard, he was at least, like, decent. Maybe loved Mufasa like a brother. And then he got his scar, which was because of a snake, and because he didn't get rid of the snake's venom, it turned him evil. And then he tried to get rid of Mufasa. And then it connects to everything else in that canon. They at least gave him a reason to be an ass. Not just, oh yeah, betrays him and then is on his good side and then will betray him again just because screw you, Mufasa. Like, what? He acts like he actually hates him as he walks away into the shadows. Like, you can see it on his face as he turns. Like, it's very subtle, but, like, that part just pisses me off. I mean, leading into the original, that makes sense, like, establishing character, like, maybe he's just a grouchy person. Maybe that's just what they meant, and I'm reading into this too much. But knowing that he ends up killing Mufasa anyways, why make this whole movie about how, like, explaining their backstory, and then in that backstory, implying that Scar doesn't want to betray Mufasa again because he's called Scar so he doesn't forget what he did. And then he freaking does it again years later. It makes no sense. Either he's for Mufasa or he's against him. You can't have it both ways, Disney. Clearly they can with the original and then this. So, I don't know. You can't have someone be sorry for their actions, like he is here, and then have him betray him again later on. Continuity is continuity. You can't have them have this connection, and then just destroy it because, well, it has to stay with what we wrote already. You didn't have to write it like that in the first place, Disney. Like, Mufasa, it technically comes before The Lion King, yes, because it's also a story. But because you're writing it after The Lion King, the original, you could just have it where he genuinely is sorry, and then just later on just grows resentment for no reason. Here, in the same freaking movie, like, literally a scene ago, he said, sorry, call me this so I don't forget. And then he still looks pissed. Like he's still against Mufasa. So either it's a false sorry or it's genuine. You can't have it both ways.
Even in the future, nothing works.
I like the slow build-up to Mufasa and Sarabi, to where it makes it seem genuine, like when she dies, and yes, she dies in this movie. She got trampled by an elephant, she died. And Mufasa saves her corpse, and after some BS of, like, thinking Taka saved her after Rafiki? These freaking names, man.
This is bullshit.
Rafiki revives her. She actually discovers it was Mufasa who saved her, because she remembers a quote that she could not have possibly heard because her ass was dead. And then repeats it back to him. And then he nervously, like, just denies it because he knows that his brother is in love with her and doesn't want to, like, trample on his paws. My only gripe about these two is that you could have made Mufasa's crush on Sarabi more obvious. I mean, yeah, the focus was more on Taka having a crush on Sarabi, but we all know that it's Mufasa and Sarabi that get together because of the Lion King, because Simba has to exist. But it didn't even look like Mufasa liked her at all, except for, like, being a friend. Or, like, close acquaintance. Like, yeah, he could have suppressed it because Taka was always around. But they also had some moments where, like, they were alone just together and Taka wasn't even in the picture. Like, you could have snuck in there, like, he's, like, looking away or something, or, like, whatever. Maybe because he understands the female lions, because he was, like, raised more by them and understands them more than Taka does. Maybe that was what they were trying to have as his crush on her, but that's just understanding females. You don't need to be... It doesn't matter if you're male or female. You can understand a female and not have a crush on her. I really hope that they didn't have that portion of his character to be solely, oh, well, that's his crush on her. That's what we had his crush be on her as. You know what, with modern Disney being woke, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they did have it as. Like, it just seems forced. Like, Mufasa x Sarabi obviously is endgame. Like, it has to be. But it just feels forced. Like, they have this beautiful duet together in the like, snow and whatnot. But Taka more had a reason to have chemistry with her when they had none. Whereas none of these three had chemistry with each other romantically at all. He didn't understand her at all, whereas Mufasa did, but that doesn't mean that, like, they're made for each other. With Taka, you could actually see him hurt by the fact that Mufasa is now with Sarabi, but like I said, it just feels forced. Like, you can have characters need to be together for something else in the future to happen that you've already written, but you can at least write it to make it make sense. And I'm saying this from a story writer's perspective because me and my team have done that before. Taking all this into account, having it in your movie not make it to that stage is wild to me. I guess bros before hoes doesn't work here, huh, Taka? You're literally willing to betray your brother over a friggin' girl. The inclusion of Rafiki in the story makes sense, like, just on the journey alone, because it makes sense on how he, Mufasa, and everyone else know each other, and how he knows most of the story from that point on. What I find doesn't make sense is how he knows everything before that, even the parts that Mufasa and Taka couldn't possibly know. Like, the death of Taka's family, the freaking bye-bye, words? The freaking bye-bye song, the cutaways to, like, other characters, like the White Lions, or, like, just, I guess, Mufasa's, like, early moments, because as an adult lion telling the story, I highly doubt that he remembers all of that in great detail. And, like, knowing what they were going for, like, beat for beat, is highly unlikely. I will admit, I wasn't a fan at first, but the Bye Bye song was really catchy. And dark. Bold move, modern Disney. Good job. I think the beginning of the movie definitely was a little, not really confusing, but like diversion, I guess. Because when you call your movie Mufasa, but it starts with Simba and his family, it's a little confusing at first. Like, I for real, when the movie started, thought, like, for a second, did I walk into the wrong movie? That might just be me, though. I don't know. Like, before they got to the whole, like, storytelling part, I actually thought I walked into the wrong movie. Because it looks like a remake of, The Lion King 2. Like, almost before that point. At the end of the introduction of Kion, Kiara is so adorable here with her new brother. Like, it's so adorable. Kiara is the cutest and best cub. Is that what Lion cub? Yeah. Okay, I was thinking that's just relevant to bears. Simba wasn't really present in this film. He's kind of reduced to a side character like McQueen was in Cars 2. Like, you recognize him from the first film, but he's not really, like, important for this one. He's just kind of there. Maybe getting, like, 8 solid minutes of screen time, I would say. I don't know, I'm not dissecting this movie like CinemaSins would, man. I don't care that much. But, like, since the story's not about him, I guess it's fine. It establishes, like, the world, like, where we are now, who's telling the story, why they're telling the story. Yeah. I noticed a few references in this movie. Like, they made references to the original and Lion King 1.5, I think. I think it's Lion King 1.5. Surprisingly. The most obvious being the whole scar grabbing Mufasa's paws thing, like being dangled off a cliff. That happens like 2 or 3 times.
Been known as Scar.
Yeah, the interesting one I found to be is the panoramic view, like from beneath of Mufasa, like either jumping or running across something, like ravine looking, to save someone. Or just running. I think that was either from the first film? Like when, I don't know about that one, but I remember seeing it in one of those. It's like a know it when you see it type thing, but can't really like put your finger on it, you know? I know it's a small detail, but I just thought it was cool. The music of Circle of Life plays when Mufasa goes up to Pride Rock, which is just icing on the cake, honestly. Speaking of Pride Rock, I found it interesting that Pride Rock was just a mountain when they got there, like just in Malele. Which I find interesting that they're not calling the Pride Lands. Maybe they call it that later on or whatever. Because I for real thought that was a completely different place than the Pride Lands. Maybe that's its original name. Who knows? Disney knows. Disney definitely knows. It was a surprise to me that that Pride Rock wasn't home-shaped until the very end. I thought it was like just a strangely shaped rock, like since the original. I mean, that's what it looks like. Overall, animation was immaculate, in my opinion. The story gets from point A to point B with some tips that could have been of use. But other than that, I think it was great. Voice acting was well done. Sound design fit the film. I wasn't impressed a lot with the songs, but like 2 were okay. And of course, Circle of Life. You can't beat Circle of Life. I don't know if that's what it's actually called. I'm just calling it that because, yeah. No, it's not Circle of Life. It's the song that plays when Simba, is on Pride Rock and, like, roars in the rain. They play the same song. Yeah, the other songs are pretty forgettable. Aside from, Pumbaa and Timon ripping off their own song and replacing Matata with Mufasa and joking about copyright for some reason, because that exists in this universe. The back and forth between past and present story-wise was certainly a choice. I don't really know if there's a moral to this one, really. Just pass on stories from the past to the future generation, because that's exactly what Kiara does with Kion. Which I'm kind of curious, is Kiara literally just gonna sit there for 3.5 hours talking to her baby brother, who is not going to remember this experience at all? And Simba and Nala are just gonna stand there like, okay, guess we're doing this now. Don't know how you know that, but alright. This was a really long movie. I don't know if it was 2 hours or 1.5 hours, but it certainly felt longer. The build-ups were slow, definitely enjoyable on the first watch, but they were slow. This was a slow burning movie. I think that's it. That's the end of my script. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie upon watching it. The visuals were great. I know that's animation, whatever, same thing. Yeah. I think I got through with all my gripes and frustrations with this movie. Don't make another one, please, Disney. We don't need another Lion King movie that's not 2D, or if it's not like riffing on the Lion Guard, because that's the only canon we care about. If you do make a new movie, make it based on the books, and in 2D, following that story, because this one, while this movie is amazing, the overall story with this, like, new one sucks. Makes no sense. And there's no clear indication that this wasn't just a cash grab. And I've seen many people unhappy with this movie because of the failure that was the 2019 remake, and the fact that Disney is just literally on that cash grab train of just remake after remake after remake, and they all suck. All of them. One I do want to point out that we seen as a trailer before the movie is Snow White. While it's not the Snow White classic movie, you shouldn't call it Snow White just in general. You should call it its own thing, because it looks like such a good movie on its own. It would be so successful on its own if you're not trying to riff on the original. That's the same issue with this one. Don't riff on the original. If you're trying to make an original story, make an original story. Make a like, whole new title for it. Don't call it this, and that. Like, connecting it to something else that already exists. Like, it's just going to anger the people. Because we're thinking of the original. You're thinking of wokeness and stuff. While I will give Disney credit, the new Snow White looks amazing. It looks nothing like the wokeness that we were fed that it would be. It's literally Snow White and the people trying to take the kingdom back from this, like, evil queen. That sounds like a great concept. It could be a Snow White retelling, which it looks like it is, which those work great. Just don't call it Snow White. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, and if you enjoyed the movie, or if you didn't, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. Anyways, my name's been Solarsammyyt, there's nobody really here, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!
Bruh.